to use them if you want. I think some people think they're against the terms of service, but I've never heard of Amazon caring about that because, like I said, they're way smarter than like to know that those, you know, they're very smart. They understand their customer very well. And they know where that sale came from. So that's my opinion. Another question, how many PCs can the Chrome extension be installed on? The Chrome extension is licensed for one particular user. But if you have like a home computer and a work computer, you can install it on both of those computers. It's going to give you some errors if you're trying to use both at the same time, because that would mean more than one person. But if you have multiple computers, like a home and a work, then that's fine. If I list a product with the same ASIN as another seller, is there a way to have my own listing that would be an improvement over the other seller? I've heard that Amazon will place my product under the existing listing no matter what the listing quality is. That's correct. If you sell a product that's already on Amazon, then it's not like eBay. Your product will be sold under that listing no matter what the quality of that listing is, okay? So like on eBay, which is the reason that Amazon doesn't do this, because it's like kind of a poor user experience to search for name XYZ product here and for there to be like 100 different listings, right? It's like a better user experience is for there just to be one listing. And then, you know, there can be multiple sellers on that listing if they want. So that's how it works on Amazon. All right. How long can an international seller sell as individuals with no legal entity? What is the optimal time to switch to business structure in home country before the first inventory after someone already makes sales? And what is the must time to go to business and not individual anymore, level of sales or something else? All right. It's all right. So keep in mind, like I'm an American, so I'm very familiar with the rules. If you're American selling like on Amazon.com, I don't know all the rules as far as if you're an international seller on Amazon.com. Or any other Amazon marketplace. It was my understanding that you do have to have a business entity if you do not live in the US to sell on Amazon.com. That was my understanding, but that could be wrong because I don't have personal experience with that. As far as optimal time to switch from like a personal account to a business structure, a lot of this is going to depend on your risk tolerance. So there's lots of advantages of having a business structure instead of selling as a personal entity or person. The main one there was probably the liability protection. So if someone decides, hey, they trip on my marshmallow sticks and they stab their eye out, they would then, if they wanted, they could try to sue my legal entity, which is protects me from my personal assets. So they would only be able to go after whatever assets are held in that particular legal entity, as opposed to me personally. They wouldn't be able to come after my personal car or my personal house or whatever else. That's, you know, there's not many lawsuits that happen like that against Amazon sellers, but that's why it kind of depends on your risk tolerance and maybe your net worth and other things like that. There are other advantages, though, having a legal entity. Like you can sign up for banking under that legal entity. You can sign up for credit cards under that legal entity. So yeah, in my personal opinion, I wouldn't let that hold you back from getting started, but I'd say, you know, at some point it's going to be good to go ahead and just kind of get that set up just so you are operating as like a legitimate business and not necessarily just a single person. All right, I'm still searching for my first product, but in the meantime, should I trademark a name or logo before I find the product I wish to sell? If you want, you know, you don't have to have a trademark to sell on Amazon. I think a lot of people think that. You only have to have a trademark, a registered trademark, in order to register for brand registry, which does have perks to it, and I do like them, but it isn't required. So I don't want like new people to get hung up on this fact, okay? So if you have a pretty large budget and you don't mind spending a little bit of time to go ahead and register that trademark, go for it, because it is a lengthy process. It takes like 6 or 8 months. So yeah, I have a 2-pack of towels. To add another set, is it better to add a variation in there in a different pattern or create a separate listing. This is kind of something that you have to think about. Or let me give you like both options. So option one, create the variation on the existing listing that you have. The benefits of that is there's already probably existing reviews on that listing, and it probably already has like good page rank for particular keywords. So those variations would start selling immediately. That's the benefit there. The other option will be able to create a separate listing. The benefit with that is you could potentially take up more real estate. So if you searched for towels or whatever it is, then you could potentially have two listings on, what the customer is seeing. So you have more real estate on that page that they're looking at. And that would increase the chance that they land on one of your listings. The downside is you need to get some initial reviews and some initial sales and everything else to start ranking well for that particular product. So if I was you, I'd just kind of balance both of those things and decide what you think is best. At the end of the day, there's no right or wrong answer. I guess it's more so of, do you need these things to start selling immediately? Or maybe do you have a marketing budget to do a bunch of giveaways and spend more on PPC and that kind of thing to get these ranked well? All right, one on YouTube, Terrence said, do you recommend setting up all your listings as variations just in case you want to add a variation later? You can actually change a product down the road to allow variations under it if you didn't set it up that way. But yeah, I guess if you have the forethought to set it up like that from the beginning, then I don't see any downside of doing that. Eric said, you have to have a trademark now for brand registry. Does this mean I have to pay for labels until I get the trademark under new Amazon rules? No. You don't have to pay for labels. You can still print the FN SKU on the particular packaging. I think the one thing you might be getting a little bit confused with is like, do you need a GS1 barcode or a GS1 UPC versus one bought from a third-party reseller? And as far as I know, the ones that are purchased from a third-party reseller are still working. But keep in mind, that is technically against Amazon's terms of service. I've never heard of anyone having any issues with it, but there might be people out there that have. I haven't personally. So this is, again, probably a little bit of like your risk tolerance. If you want to make sure you're 100% by the book, then you need to register for a GS1 barcode, which I think are like $250. If that sounds like a lot of money to you and you're willing to take a little bit of risk, then you can buy a UPC code for like $1 or $2 or $5 or whatever else off one of the resellers. And then, yeah, I think the reason you were asking about the trademark and the brand registry is because after you have brand registry, you can change the unique identifier for a product from like the GTIN, which would be a UPC or EAN code. Sorry, there's a lot of letters in here, to like a model number or something else that you just designate as a as kind of like the brand owner. All right. Anime said, hey, Greg, how do you deal with unverified negative reviews? A customer who never brought your product leaving a negative review. There's not much you can do besides just brush it off and move on with your life. Don't get caught up in it because Amazon's not going to take it down unless you... I've never heard of them removing reviews. They want to make sure it's very unbiased. It can be frustrating, especially as a new seller, to see negative reviews, especially if you think they're unfounded. But there's not much you can do about it except keep moving on with your life, so don't let it hold you back. Another one, YouTube. How do you find a great product to sell on the India market? On the India market, I would use the same research methodology that I use for any other marketplace. So I'm looking for products in high demand with low competition, good margins, no legal issues, all those types of things. If you want to know more in depth about my research methodology, I would encourage you to go to junglescout.com, check under our free resources and sign up for one of the upcoming product research webinars. In there, I'll do a whole hour webinar of an in-depth product research session so you can see the exact numbers and values and everything else instead of just giving you the high levels like I am during this AMA. Matt Migas on YouTube said, hey, Greg, do you still use Google Keyword Planner? It doesn't show exact search stats. You have to run campaigns first. Newbie here. I still do use Google Keyword Planner, but we also spend a lot of money on AdWords for Jungle Scout, so it gives me more information than what it would give someone who doesn't spend any money with them. There's no like perfect keyword planner out there, right? Because no one has kind of cracked the Amazon code. I also use keywordtool.io a fair amount. It's a free tool. Yeah, and if you just search kind of like keyword research tool, there's a whole bunch of other ones that you can check out. None of them are going to know, keyword volume stats from Amazon. It's going to be more generic, but that's fine. Those work anyway. That's plenty good to like set up your listing. And then after you start running some PPC, you can start get real keywords from customers and which ones are converting. And then those are always good ones to kind of put back into your listing. All right, on YouTube, T086. And what kind of legal documents do we need to sell on Amazon? I try to stay as far away from legal stuff as I can. However, I think I understand on Amazon.com, and this might be different in other marketplaces, but you need, let's see, as far as legal documents, you have to tell them who you're selling as. That's either a person, a U.S. person with your social security number, or a legal entity. So the legal entity would need a U.S. tax identifier number, which you can get free from the IRS. Besides that, that's about it as far as signing up for an account. That being said, I think they're doing this a lot more, making accounts verify all these documents. So you used to be able to just sign up and put in the information, they take your word for it. Now I think they make you verify this. So if you like sign up as a legal entity, they'll probably want to see like your incorporation documents to prove that. They might also want to see a bank account registered underneath that legal entity. Those are the only ones that come to mind. They may ask for proof of address, which would probably be like a utility bill or maybe a bank statement again. Kind of the best advice I can probably give you is just to sign up for an account, and then hopefully they don't ask you for the stuff because it's a headache. But if they do, then just, find each of those documents that they're asking for and give them to them. All right, another one, YouTube said, I am starting my first Amazon store. Should I buy the Jungle Scout Chrome extension and the web app together? Or is it better just to buy the Chrome extension first, then after a while subscribe to the web app? Most people who I talk to end up purchasing both the Chrome extension and the web app. And I think the reason for that is they work very nicely in unison. They were designed to complement each other. The Chrome extension you get to keep for life, so you can just purchase it one time and keep it the rest of your life. The web apps, build on a month by month, or you can prepay for a year. But so I would suggest that you probably get the Chrome extension. Everyone, of course, loves the Chrome extension. And then, the web app, you can always just bill month to month. So, maybe you just need it for like a month or two to find that first product, and then you can come back later down the road or whatever else. So, yeah, that's what I'd probably recommend to you. How do shipping prices to the UK compare to the US when shipping from China? I think they're more or less the same, as long as we don't get into the VAT discussion. Yeah, I think you can probably plan on about the same prices. Hey Greg, how do you manage PPC during holidays? I've been getting fewer clicks and also less impressions. I was getting around 30 to 40 clicks daily, and since the last 3 days, I'm getting 0 clicks. I manage PPC during the holidays the same as I do all the rest of the year. I don't do it any differently. It sounds like there may be something else going on in your particular account. Maybe there's a few new competitors who are all bidding really high right now. I guess what you'd have to look would be to see if you're still getting impressions and just not clicks. With that being said, I'm guessing you're looking at this a little bit too closely, like on too much of a micro level, because Amazon's reporting is delayed 24 to 48 hours, and you're talking about just 3 days here. And sales and PPC and everything else, it varies a lot day to day. So I mean, I think the best thing to do is only look at it like once a week and kind of optimize from there. But I understand, especially as beginners, that's very hard to do because you want to see exactly how many units you've sold each day. But the truth of the matter is those are just kind of like the ups and downs of Amazon. Doesn't necessarily mean there's anything wrong with your account. Yeah, sales just aren't, always super steady. Like some days I might sell 20 units, the next day only 4, then the next day 15, the next day 7, the next day 35. So like, I think a lot of times beginners on those days, they only sold like 7 would be kind of like panicking, but that's just how Amazon goes. Hey Greg, does JumpSend offer buy one, get one campaigns? For example, buy one, get one 80% off. No. So the only way to list deals on JumpSend would be a coupon that works for just on one singular product. Hey Greg, how big is the biggest product you've ever sold? Good question. Irma on YouTube. One of my products only fits about, I think, 400 units in a 40-foot container. So that's very big. And I think it's the largest size tier on Amazon is like special oversize. And that's very expensive. I think it's a minimum of like $150 fee. And I know the sizing of this product is just below that. So pretty big. Hey Greg, is there a fixed size for the FBA label? I'm assuming here you're talking about the FN SKU label. I think they do have a recommended size for this. And best practice would be to follow that. I think if you Google Amazon FBA labeling requirements, you would see these. But to be completely honest with you, it doesn't have to be that exact size. I mean, just imagine, the barcodes on there should be about the same size as what you see the ones at the stores. So, that big. Can you please explain how keyword optimization works for variations with parent and child? Does Amazon search for a combination of the parent and child, or only the most popular child, etc.? Good question. No one knows for sure, but I'll give you what I believe in my understanding, because obviously no one knows exactly how Amazon ranks their particular keywords. I think Amazon searches for a combination of the parent and child, and they'll try to show the most relevant child product for that particular search. If I'm selling Nike shoes and they come in 12 different sizes, then the keyword's just shoe, then they would, or let's say 12 different, or let's say 3 different colors and 12 different sizes. If I just search for shoe, they would show like the color and size image of whatever whatever they think is the most popular product or the most likely to convert. However, if you searched for Nike shoe blue and one of those colors I had was blue, they would try to show the blue product because they think that would be the one that's most likely to convert. So, for example, with our Jungle Snugs, there's 3 different colors, right? White, blue, pink. So in the pink title, we did like pink, girls, and we try to put in a few other keywords that we think would be more likely to convert for a pink towel. And same thing with blue. We did like blue, boys, and things like that. So that way, if someone searches for like hooded baby towel blue, hopefully Amazon, and they do a pretty good job of this, would then show the blue variation to that particular person on that search page. Hey Greg, any information about GDPR in Europe? No, sorry, I'm not familiar with it. I'll look that up. I haven't heard of it yet. If I sign up as a UK seller account, will it be linked to my North America account? You have 2 options when you do this. You could either link it, and by linking it, I mean you use the same email to sign up for it, and Amazon will automatically link it so you have a unified login against all the Amazon platforms. Or it's also okay to just use a different email address and have to sign out and sign back in. And actually, they recognize it when you do that. So I personally didn't know this at the time, so I just use a different email address. Actually, I think you used to have to use a different email address, but within the past like 6 months, you don't have to anymore. So now I'll log out email address A, then I'll go to UK and log in with email address B. They'll recognize that, so they'll say, hey, do you want to link these back? Do you want to link these up so you have a unified account, or do you want to keep them separate? And so far, I've just kept them separate. I don't think it really matters either way. We're trying to place our first order, and it seems like solving a puzzle. When exactly is the right time to ask to sign a contract with the seller? And assume by seller you mean kind of like factory. A lot of people don't even use contracts or agreements with their factory. I personally like to do so. And I do so after we've negotiated on a price and any other terms or anything else. I then put the agreement together, which you can find on our blog. And I, at that point, send it off to the supplier or factory and ask them to sign it and return it to me. Should I run PPC if my product is on the first page with the main keyword? This is a debated topic. In my opinion, yes. If you were to search like marshmallow sticks right now, you would probably see like spot 1 is a sponsored listing for my marshmallow sticks, and spot 2 is I'm usually ranked number 1 for that keyword for the jungle sticks. And my reasoning behind that is I like to take up more real estate and have it more likely that someone clicks on my particular product, as opposed to giving that to a competitor where they're then more likely to click on a competitor's product. So I'd say if you can still run it profitably, then in my opinion, it's still a good idea to do so. If you're losing money on each of those PPC sales, then that's when I would either tune down your budget or cut it. Hey Greg, for someone starting out, if they have a large budget, do you think it's better to have multiple products quickly to get a better earning capacity, or stay small? These types of questions are always hard for me to answer because it very much depends on the particular person, your risk tolerance, and everything else. If you feel like you have a great understanding of Amazon and you're confident on like what you've learned so far, then I don't see any problem. And you're excited about growing quickly, then I don't see any problem with launching multiple products quickly. If you're not quite sure and this is your first product and you just kind of want to test the waters first, then it's probably a better idea to start with just one product, kind of start small and go from there. Hey Greg, if I was to run out of stock between the first small stock order and the second order, what is the best way to deal with this so my listing isn't affected too much while waiting on new stock? I think the best way to deal with this is actually to just run out of stock. Don't increase your price a whole bunch to try to, slow down your conversion rate. Maybe you could increase it a little bit, but you don't want to decrease your conversion rate too much. And Amazon's smart. They know that when you come back in stock, they look at your old conversion rate and how well it's selling. And a lot of times your ranking doesn't even drop. When it does, it's normally only a small amount and you get it back relatively quickly. So don't panic. Just run out of stock, get it back in stock. If you need to, you can do a few giveaways when you get back in stock, or maybe increase your PPC spend a little bit, get back in stock. But at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal. Hey, Greg, when you're starting out on limited funds, would you rather order a cheaper product or less quantity? How much did you spend on your very first personal product? I would probably order a cheaper product. If you do a small quantity and then you don't have enough to do proper giveaways and anything else to get that sales velocity early on in the beginning, then you're not giving your product a fair chance. So I'd probably go for a cheaper product. I think I spent around $2,000 to $3,000 on my very first personal product. I've been hearing about December 1st deadline. How true is that? My product should get to Amazon warehouse by December 4th. I haven't heard of a December 1st deadline. So I can't vouch that that's correct. The only deadline I have heard of, and I don't remember what the exact day is specifically for toys and games products. And Amazon's been doing this the past 5 years, or as long as I can remember, that every year, if you're a brand new seller and never sold toys and games before, they don't let you ship in toys and games products, I think after Thanksgiving until Christmas. But I haven't heard about any other deadlines for the rest of the categories. Can you explain ACOS, ACOS, and what is a good percentage? So ACOS is advertising cost of sale. If I sell a product for $100 and I spent $10 in PPC to get that sale, 10 divided by 100 is 10%. So my ACOS, or advertising cost of sale, is 10%. What is a good percentage? I like to keep all of my ACOS under the break-even point, okay? Because when you get more PPC sales, Amazon recognizes that, so then they rank you better because your sales velocity is higher. And what I mean by break-even ACOS is if let's say I have a $100 product, it costs me $70 to land this product at Amazon and Amazon fees. So let's say my product costs $35 to land it at Amazon. There's $35 in fees. That's $70. My product sells for $100. So that means I have $30 left over for profit before any PPC, okay? So then my break-even ACOS for that particular product would be 30%, $30 for a $100 product. That would what would be my profit before. So I'm willing to spend up to 30% ACOS for that particular product. Anything less than 30%, so 25, 20, 15, that means I'd be making profit on all those sales. Anything above 30%, 35, 40, 50, whatever, that'd mean I'd be losing a little bit of money on each of those sales. On a brand new product when I'm just launching, I'm willing to go above my break-even ACOS and lose money on the sales because in return, I'm getting sales velocity, which is increasing my rank. So that's what I would recommend. So every product's different. Every product has different profit margins. So I can't exactly recommend a good percentage for you and your particular product, but that's the mindset that I used to think about it. Is GS1 the only place to buy UPC codes because it's really expensive? Question on YouTube. GS1 is the only organization that you can buy legitimate barcodes that are registered to your company. Per Amazon's terms of service, they require that the GS1 barcodes are registered to your company. However, I haven't personally heard of anyone having problems with this. So what happens is resellers, like for example, speedybarcodes.com, or there's a whole bunch of other ones, they'll buy like 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 or whatever barcodes from GS1. They'll register them to their company. So they're registered to like speedybarcodes.com. And then they resell them to you for like $1 or $5 or whatever. So it's much cheaper. And they're making money because they get these bulk discounts from GS1. I've been using the third-party ones for a long time, and knock on wood, haven't had any problems yet. But again, this is for your particular risk tolerance. Be warned that I've warned you that that is breaking Amazon's terms of service if we're reading them to a T. So keep that in mind. What's your favorite category on Amazon? And do you think it will always be growing? Thanks. I don't have one in particular favorite category on Amazon. I base all of my decisions specifically off the data that I get. I tie no emotion to it. I don't care what category or what type of product it is. I just go off what the numbers are showing me. So I don't have a favorite category. Yo, Greg. This is from YouTube. Please provide information about dropshipping. I'm a Jungle Scout user from India and already selling on Amazon US Marketplace. I don't do dropshipping because I'm not a personal believer or fan in this particular business model. So I can't give you too much information about it because it's not really for me. It might be okay for other people, whatever, but I personally don't think it's the best business model. And some people disagree with me here, but so yeah, I don't really have any information for you on it. When trying to pick a supplier, is it a good idea to judge them by their Alibaba videos to see if they sell mostly relevant items, or are those fake videos? This is on YouTube, Albidu. A lot of the media content on Alibaba is total BS. So the videos might be real and some of the photos are real, but there's also like just tons of just ripped off photos on there. The copyright laws and the business ethics around copyright is very much different in China than what a lot of us are used to in US or maybe Europe or other places of the world. For example, if you search marshmallow sticks, I'm on like the first page of Alibaba or some. It's one of those keywords. It's like me holding a marshmallow stick, and they like took it from our blog and put it on, put it on their listing. And this isn't who we use to order the jungle sticks from. So I thought that was pretty funny. So take it with a grain of salt. A lot of the pictures or videos could be legit, but not all of them. Ben said, just launched a few days ago and ran across your PPC video from yesterday. It was perfect. Thanks, JS team. Ben, thank you very much for the kind words, and thanks for watching the YouTube video. One on Facebook, Jawad said, can I expand my German account and use it in the US to sell in the US? So Amazon has two different Seller Essentials. Well, they have one Seller Essential for all the EU stores, and they have a different Seller Essential for the North America stores. That's Canada, US, and Mexico. So to sell in the US, you do have to sign up for the a North America Seller Essential account. The German or EU one doesn't work to do so. My store is new, and whenever I try to sell something, they say I need request approval. What is the next step to get all the categories available for me? So there are some gated categories on Amazon, like watches, jewelry, healthcare, or health and personal care, or whatever, a few other ones. So it sounds like you're trying to sell in one of these gated categories. When you ask for approval, they generally show you which documents you need to provide to them. And I haven't, to be honest with you, I haven't done this in a few years. So, I mean, if you still need additional help besides what Amazon tells you about which documents you need to provide to them, I would just do a quick Google search, because I know there's tons of content on the web that's been written about how to get ungated for these categories. At the end of the day, there's also services that you can spend money on, and they'll do it for you. But depending on your budget, you know, you may or may not be interested in that. Hey, Greg, have you encountered any delays when ordering from Alibaba around February, since it's Chinese New Year celebration time? Any tips about when is not the best time to order or expect delays? Absolutely. You'll definitely run into delays in February in China. During the Chinese New Year, all the factory workers take off like the entire month of February. Or I don't know the exact days this year, but just plan on like the whole month of February. The sales reps typically don't take off the whole month. They'll typically take off like 2 weeks. But the factories will be shut down for that entire month, so there'll definitely be delays. So the time to order products is going to be very soon, because you either want them to be shipped out before Chinese New Year, so by the end of January, which would mean you'd have to submit your order probably by Christmas. Or if you don't submit your order by like Christmas time for it to be shipped out before Chinese New Year, I would probably just put it in at the end of February, the beginning of March, when the sales reps comes back, and then it won't be shipped for about another month after that. So that is something to keep in mind. Chinese New Year throws everyone kind of like a curveball, because you essentially need to get your product shipped before then, or you might as well just wait to order until when they get back. So keep that in mind, the entire month of February. What was the cost for your entire shipment for the sleeping bags? I think the total cost was around $2,000. So we shipped a whole container of these because it was like 1,200 or 1,500 sleeping bags or something. So it filled up an entire container, and it was about $2,000, give or take. I don't know exactly. Is there a max amount of units Amazon will hold? And for the US, do you have to stock multiple products in multiple Amazon warehouses for shipping purposes? Yes, when you sign up for a new account, you do have storage limits. So I think a brand new account, the storage limit for standard size is like, I don't know, that was a long time ago for me, but I think it was like 5,000, and oversized, I'm pretty sure it's 500. So you can't send in more than 5,000 undersized or standard size products, or more than 500 oversized products. And then as you build up more sales in Amazon, they'll increase that more and more and more. So like on my account, I think I can store now like over 1 million products at Amazon. For the US, do you stock products in multiple Amazon warehouses? Yes, they'll either ask you to send in your product to multiple warehouses, or when you send your product into one of the warehouses, they'll actually distribute it around the US to make sure it's like stocked around, you know, in their distribution centers in different states, so that the shipping times are the fastest. Hey, Greg, I'm about to order my samples from 2 suppliers. Can I ask them to make modifications on the probably sample. You can ask them whatever you like. They may or may not be able to do it depending on what the modifications are. If it's something that like printing your logo using screen printing, they generally do not want to do that or won't do that for samples because they have to like create a screen, like burn a screen and then do it, which is costly and laborious. So they generally won't do things like that. If they're, for example, let me give you my hooded baby towels as an example. With my hooded baby towels, I wanted a sample from the supplier, and I wanted my product to be a thicker material, so like 500 GSM fabric instead of 300 GSM fabric. And I was also trying to move relatively quickly, so I think like option 1 was like, we can have a sample made for you in the next month out of the 500 GSM fabric. I'm like, I'm trying to get this thing launched now. So instead what they did is they sent me a sample of the 300 GSM fabric, because that was already made. And then they sent me swatches of fabric of the 500 GSM so I could like feel what it was like, see how it was thicker, but it wasn't actually sewn into the actual product. So that would be kind of like something in between. So it's hard to know without seeing your product because depending on the construction methods for your particular product, like if they had to create like a new mold, then they don't want to create this new mold just to make one sample product. So you can keep all those things in mind. I found my products to sell. Can you tell me if I should call Alibaba direct or just order online? So assuming we're talking about Alibaba and not Aliexpress, on Alibaba, it's actually just a marketplace of factories advertising their goods to us as customers. So Alibaba.com is a place to find these factories. Then you contact the factory directly and work with them. So you're not actually ordering from Alibaba. You're finding your factory or supplier through Alibaba and then ordering from the factory. So you can't order directly from Alibaba, and you actually can't really just order online. It's actually more of a collaborative type process where you're talking to them, telling them what you want, getting a price quote back, etc., etc. If you're talking about AliExpress, that's a place that they sell lower quantities of items. Then I think AliExpress is just like Amazon where you can just order stuff on there. But keep in mind, those aren't going to be like customized, or your logo's not going to be on there or anything like that. Waffles or pancakes? Definitely waffles. I don't even really like pancakes, and I like all foods. Is JumpSend ready for the UK? Yes, it's ready. Yes, jumpsend.com. You can sign up, go there, and you just sign up for a normal plan, and you have the ability to sync up your UK account. Woohoo! All right, we have time for about 3 more questions, and then it's time for me to get back to work. I'm interested in running PPC campaigns for the purpose of product research only. Can you run PPC even if you're out of stock on an item? No, you cannot. You have to be eligible for the buy box to run PPC campaigns on that product. So if you're out of stock, you're not eligible for the buy box. Sorry. Dean Charles Parker Jr. on Facebook said, I have started making profit on my first product. Congratulations, that's awesome. I am working on my second product, but also see a third that I want to work on. Is it okay to work and launch 2 completely different products at the same time? Absolutely, go for it. It sounds like now that you figure out how the system works, you're making money from your first product. At this point, you'll probably want to scale up. So it's much quicker if you're working on multiple products at the same time, because most of the time or time delays are on the factory side, not necessarily on your side, even if you're only working part-time. So go for it, man. And it said, hey, Greg, you're the best. No, Anna, you're the best. All right. Couple ones left here. One quick thing I want to say. We decided on the 50 winners for the founder book. You can find them at gregmercer.com/founder. We asked the question to everyone, what inspires you to be a founder? And I was inspired by reading some of these, so I want to read off just a few for you guys real quick. Nico Lovitsky said, the moment when I have to turn back and see what I've created, that's what inspires me. It's very cool, and I totally agree. Amy Bremer said, the idea that I can put all my hard work, inspired ideas, talent, and create towards building my own business rather than giving away all that for someone else who wants to pay me next to nothing, trading time for money sucks. I agree. That inspires me as well. Khan said, what inspires them? So I can take advantage of the time that's given me in these lives to actually help others and really make a difference in their lives. Not only giving you wealth or money, but as the old Chinese proverbs say, give a man a fish, he will eat for a day. Teach a man to fish and he will feed his family for the rest of his life. Just like what you're doing with the Pencils of Promise program to build schools. Thank you, Khan. Frank said, the opportunity to potentially have a positive impact on the lives of people around you for the better and the thrill for the satisfaction of traveling on your own path to success. And the last one, John said, I've been in corporate America for 30 years. Time to build a legacy for my family. That's what I'm talking about. And I guess since everyone else gave the reason what inspires them to be a founder, I'll tell you real quick. I myself, my whole life, I've been like a creator, a builder. I've loved building things my entire life and like seeing the fruits of your labor and like what you've built and how it helps or benefits other people, whether it was just like a little lemonade stand or whatever else. I've always loved that. And as I've gotten older and progressed in life, now I'm passionate about building businesses that really help other people and like bring them value and helps like benefit them. So it's like amazing to see like all the people's lives that you can impact by becoming a founder, creating value in the world and creating these products that really help and inspire and like improve their life. So that's what inspires me to be a founder. With that being said, we went 1 minute over time. It's 46 minutes past the hour, so it's time for me to get back to work. Thank you guys for tuning in. I've really enjoyed it. I hope to see you next week's Thanksgiving. I don't think we're doing one next Thursday, but maybe next Friday on Black Friday. We'll let you know. If you haven't already done so, smash that like or love button, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, and I will see you next time. See you guys. Bye-bye.